Thank you for staying with us. It's a done deal for Nigeria and Germany as President Bola Tinubu and the Chancellor Olaf Scholz presided over the further signing of the Presidential Power Initiative Agreement between both countries designed to ultimately add 12,000 megawatts of electricity to the national grid. The agreement was signed at the sidelines of the United Nations Climate Conference taking place at the Expo City in Dubai. The managing director of the federal government of Nigeria Power Company, Kenny Anui, and the managing director, Africa of Siemens AG, Natja Hackinson, represented both countries. Speaking on the agreement, the director of Nigeria Power Company emphasized the commitment of President Tinubu to the development of power infrastructure. He affirmed that electricity and financing are at the heart of the economic reform agenda of the administration. In his remarks, Chairman of Siemens Energy Supervisory Board, Joe Kaiser, traced the history of the initial agreement to the Muhammadu Buhari administration in 2018, expressing delight that both parties have now been able to drive the process forward.
On the commitments that are being made today, that you have both graciously handheld to this point to deliver a future for Nigeria that promises an effective leadership and partnership with the world-renowned Siemens Energy and the German government with its financiers. It is historic for us, both as users of electricity, as it augurs for a brighter future for consumers, for commercial users, and for industrial users.
To witness the signing of the Presidential Initiative for Power, I'm really happy that this agreement, the spirit of supplying energy to the greater good of the Nigerian people has come and been taken to a new level.
Well, joining us in the studio for this conversation is the former Vice President, Africa Spiegelon, GmbH, Germany. He is also the former president, Nigeria German Business Group, Germany, Joe Femi Dagunru. I'm sure I murdered that.
Okay. I would too. Okay.
Right. Thank you for joining us for this. Now, let's get your perception of this move. This current administration have been able to take this agreement that was initially introduced by former President Muhammadu Buhari. We have been able to take it further now. How much of a difference would this make in the sector? And what's your perception of this signing?
First of all, this is an agreement. It's quite different from MOUs that we've been signing, and but the Nigerians just want to have one thing done: switch, and there's electricity. Absolutely. Whether you sign an agreement in 2018 or 2023, all they want is just, I want to switch my light on and it's on. And you see, we've been trying to have a lot of all these issues resolved since Obasanjo and already in the government, and no one has even given us a clue. Agreements have been signed, MOUs have been signed, names have been given to different. This one is now Presidential Power Initiative. You have electrification
project.
So a lot of names. Nigerians just want, listen, give me electricity and give me a good price. People will begin to wonder, why are we not doing this like what we did with telephone? You just, privatize, unbundle, call it whatever name. The people can now buy their recharge card on the street and load it, and their telephone is working. Sad enough that we don't have landlines again. That's another issue. Though it's expensive to have this wireless thing, yes, but the people are just comfortable to say, look, I can make calls, I can talk to people. And this electricity problem, if we don't have a permanent solution to it, is going to continue to, make businesses lose money, and there will be unemployment as well, because the cost of maintaining your generator, the cost of maintaining businesses is quite expensive when you have to think of buying the diesel, buy the PMS and all that. So it's a big problem we are facing. So now If Siemens comes in, Siemens is not strange to Nigeria. They've been in this country, they know the problems, and they know how to resolve the problem. So that's the problem that people are saying, why is it taking so long? Now they are giving excuses. If you look at it, they said, look, the cost of doing all these things that we budgeted for, that we planned for, has gone up. These are why we couldn't start it on time, we couldn't fix it on time. But the good thing is this, they are getting the funding from Europe, from Germany. Yeah. So there's not going to be a problem of funding. They know they're bringing the funding into the system. But then now we'll have to do with another thing, the bureaucracy. When you have to say, okay, now, generating it, transmission and distribution. Then we came up with so many names, and then you have discourse. People don't know what all these things mean. And then these are the problems the government of Nigeria has to fix in order to make these things work. They are coming in, they say, look, we are ready, we are coming in, we are ready to come in, we are ready to fund it, but then let's make it work from this end. And I believe President Tinubu is going to do something on that. He knows it. When he was the governor of Lagos State, he tried something similar that, look, I want Lagos State to have their, power generated, and he brought in a lot of controversy in there, and that, so that's the past then now. He's now the president, and that is why he's working hard. I believe he's working terribly hard to make sure electricity issue is a foregone conclusion. So it's going to work. Let me just say it's going to work, because Siemens, as a German company, they've never and they will never disappoint. Once they have agreed, and don't forget, this is a high-level decision. The president and the chancellor, even not only the chancellor that's involved, the president Steinmeier, the Bundespresident is involved too. So, I mean, it's going to work. But let us tidy up the bureaucracy aspect of it on our own side in Nigeria.
And do you think that another reason why this could work is because this partnership is targeting the transmission end, which analysts have said is like the major problem? Because you spoke earlier about privatization, which we've also dabbled in regarding revamping the power sector. But when you analyze it, I wonder what to even make about on how much inroads the privatization has made yet. But of course, we know that for transmission, it's solely in the hands of government. But with this, partnership, with the German partnership, perhaps would that also give you more hope that it just might work?
I think basically, like I said, we have to begin to do away. You see, you can't take away the government out of the whole thing completely. Otherwise, it might, I think at the initial stage, we could allow the government to, monitor, control, see the effectiveness of all these things happening. Even in Germany, the government has a role to play in all these things. But the private sector is so organized in a way that even local governments, they generate, they transmit, they distribute their own electricity. And you can buy from whoever, just like you buy your recharge card from any of these providers. You can decide to change. You are not compelled to buy from one particular provider or disco. So I think it's going to get to that level. But for now, let us generate it, let us transmit it, and let us have this equipments into the country that we even transmit, so that we don't have regular breakdowns, we don't have regular, problems that are associated with what we have right now. I think the moment we have that, when we can generate and we can transmit successfully, distribution should not be a problem, and we will know where this thing is coming from. And then you have the issue of who controls the price. Is it still going to be subsidized, and who? So these are the things we have to prepare for. I believe we should have done all this before we go into this agreement. We had enough time, and I don't think that should be a problem for now. I want to believe the government of Nigeria has a good team that must have walked into all this, and now don't give us any excuse any longer, so that we can just begin to have, but we have to be very transparent with information. It's not something that we come up within the next few months or few years. So we have to begin to say that. I keep emphasizing on this issue when we are getting information into the people, into the public, so that when is this thing going to happen exactly? It's not tomorrow, it's not next tomorrow. It's going to take some time, but it's going to work, given all the assurances and the competence of the people involved.
Right. You have mentioned several critical issues that government needs to, work on as it is, because you said government does not have any excuse as it is. And one major issue is price control. Who should be in that? That is one aspect that the majority of Nigerians have been speaking about, how it is that they don't consume as much and they are paying so much. So that aspect will be something that Nigerians will be looking at how it is resolved with this new agreement on the table. And another issue is metering. We still have a huge gap when we talk about metering. Now, I want you to speak to these issues, how you want them resolved as we're looking to improve power generation or transmission.
You know, in most cases when we say, we assure you we're going to do this, we promise we're going to do this, I think we should be very careful. We should not be given this opportunity to say, look, the masses, the Nigerians, they are not interested in this assurance anymore. They just want to see things happen. You know, metering, there's nothing stopping you. You have a company that is producing this meter. You have, you know, you can expand. You can bring them in if they are not sufficient. There are so many things you can do with it. And to ensure that every house, every nooks and corner, they have meters in this country. It may not be something that you would do. We don't say, look, we want to do this within the next 30 minutes or within the next 30 months. No, just give yourself enough time to do it, because the moment you say, look, we are going to do it within the next 6 months, the people begin to, and you time the people. Then when you time the people and you threaten them again, that look, if you don't do this within this period, then we should stop all this. Look at this gentleman. I refer to him most times, this Minister of Interior. You know, he said, look, this backlog of passport, I'm going to, get done. It's done. I mean, these are the kind of people you want to talk, and it's done. And look at now, you can go online and see that the passport, within 25 minutes, you can fill the form and you can be assured of getting an appointment to get your passport. And the price is there. You don't pay more than that. So these are the things people want to see done. So if electricity is generated, let no one come again and tell us, oh, transmission is the problem. And if you are transmitting, oh, the people, they don't want to take it again. We have enough electricity, but the distributors are not taking it. Why are they not taking it? The people want it. So we have a lot of excuses for all these things. So what is the essence of signing this agreement? So now, the problem about price control, we will always have this issue, because don't forget, everything is still tied down to Forex. Most of this thing, we still, the Forex issue comes in again, and we have so many of these issues that we have not resolved. So it is going to be a very systematic, but we have to be consistent with whatever we are saying and whatever we are doing. We have to be transparent with our information. All Nigerian wants, I repeat, is this: put on the switch, and there is light. And because they are preparing these things, it's not only they have paid for it, and it's unfortunate that you pay for something you are not getting the service. How dare you promise me that there's going to be electricity and I pay ahead of it, and then there's no electricity, so you are messing around with my money and I can't collect my money, and you're not giving me any value for my money. These are the things that consumers are taking for granted. If not, how do you collect? I mean, if you pay for something and you say you want to deliver a car, and I pay for a car, you deliver the car. If you don't deliver a car for me, the exact one, you give me an alternative so that I can move around. But in this case, you collect my money, you are not delivering the electricity. And then at the end of the day, I have nowhere to go. I just keep quiet. I say, and so what? I mean, there are a lot of issues here. But this issue is not only Bola Ahmed Tinubu's issue. It has been there, but who cares? We have a leader, and a new president must take over all the problems and resolve it. And that is
bottlenecks.
And I think that is what is working hard. I believe this guy must be working hard to make sure this deal is done. I believe it.
And the P&ID lessons, so to speak, the failed contract, how we would have paid, such a humongous, proportion, humongous fine, which would have been like, is it 1/3 of our reserves? But okay, so we've gotten this breakthrough, but I'm not sure what Nigeria has to do to see this through, because I know that from what we've seen, Siemens is going to going to train our engineers, it's going to do a whole lot. Yeah. But we're not yet exactly clear, maybe you are, about what the Nigerian government needs to do. But then it's good to also know that, it's such a high-power delegation that saw to the signing of this agreement. The AGF was there, Lateef Fagbemi was there. But from what you have, seen in the past, failed contracts, international magnanimous contracts as this, what are the holes that the Nigerian side needs to avoid? Because this is going to be a big disappointment if it doesn't succeed.
I tell you what, Siemens is a German company that cannot afford to mess around. It is so easy for the German law to catch up with anyone and send them to prison and to find them. So they will not. And if they are found wanting, they would dance to the music themselves. Eula Hermes Agi is involved. A lot of people are involved. And this is an intentional contract. So I believe, sincerely speaking, that they're not going to mess around with it. It's not unlike what we have. If you as a German citizen or as a German company, if you come to Nigeria to mess around and you are found wanting, you will be sentenced there. You'll be probed, you'll be investigated, whatever. But at the end of the day, if it is for you to go to jail, you'll go to jail. If it's for the company to be fined, it's going to be fine. So I believe that issue will not come up. And if at all it comes up, there are consequences. They can't escape it. That I know about the German system.
Now, this matter recently, the statement coming from the president was that about 90 million Nigerians still lack access to electricity in 10 years after privatization. Should we now begin to perhaps take a closer look at the process of the privatization that a majority of experts have criticized over the years, that despite this privatization that we felt would, resolve all the knots and challenges we were facing in this sector, that still very much remains with us. Should we now begin to look at that?
You see, the problem we have in Nigeria is not about ideas. We have loads of good ideas, but there's corruption. There is madness about corruption. There is this big madness about that. Is everybody just feel that, look, I have to make money differently, not genuinely, not legally. And until we curb that, and there should be consequences. It is not about, plea bargain, and you steal 60 billion, and you say you want to pay, 6 billion, and we say, okay, just bring that, and you can go to sleep. No. Until we break the backbone of the problem, and the problem, we all know it, we speak about it, we see it. Listen, recently, the discourse, they said you have to link your NIN to, to the meters. And then it was linked. People did not know that you have to get 2 tokens, to be able to fix these things right. Then when you link it and then you want to load up your recharge card or whatever, then you can't. Then what happened, I was told that people will have to go there and they pay 2,000 to 3,000 up to 5,000 naira for them to be able to have the 2 tokens. I mean, what madness is that? This is supposed to be something you do in your house and, without anything, because you have Android, you have all these things. Then you now bring people. And then the young man that went, they said he was number 70 when it was about 8 o'clock. His number was 70. So imagine 2,000 naira multiplied by 70. So maybe it's 150 people. So what these people will collect from this, poor masses, that we just go there. Why do we bring in all these, issues that are not necessary? We just want to kill the people of this country. Enough of all this nonsense. The problem is this: when you have electricity functioning, when you have enough, that you will even be able to control it because it's your money. You won't just switch it on anyhow anymore. So people are controlling it. But do you know the psychological effect of this? You are leaving your office, you are going to your house, only for you to get to your house and there's no electricity. And you are running around as a mother or as a parent, then to fix the generator. Your children have gone to school, they have not eaten. A lot of all the psychological problem is killing people, is killing companies. This is a big damage to this country. And that is why hotels are very expensive. Hospitality business is a very dangerous business somehow. And we cannot boost our tourism because our hotels are our rooms are very expensive.
So if I get you correctly, you're saying why privatization has not worked is because of corruption.
Sure. One of the issues is corruption. One of the issues is corruption, because if you take away corruption from all this or minimize it to a very, level that people can, then you see, but corruption is killing all these things. And until the private sector, they will, come up with their own idea. Look at what is going on in the telecom industry. They came up with their own. They are putting all these things together. The infrastructure was there that the federal government has placed, and so also we have infrastructures in the electrical business. This electricity thing, they are infrastructure. Either the infrastructures are old, or they are dilapidated, or they are destroyed. It's a different thing. But the infrastructures are there. But we are supposed to work on the infrastructures, and there is budget to work on all these infrastructures every year. Where does this budget go? Who takes the money? And these are the problem of corruption. So until we begin to deal with it, it until there are consequences. Just like that man said, there should be court, there should be, court of law to deal with some of these things. It shouldn't be just a matter of, this is how we've been doing it in the past. We have to bring a change, and the change has to be effective for us to be able to do something great. And that is the problem. We can do privatization or any name you call, unbundling and whatever name you want to call it. We have fantastic names here. But this will not work. There are people. This is not the age of AI yet. It is the people of this country that are there. These are not foreigners managing this. These are not foreigners stealing our money. These are not foreigners destroying our infrastructure. They are Nigerians. And sometimes we know them, sometimes you can arrest them, but sometimes we let it go. And that is the problem. Every Nigerian knows the problem of this country. And until we begin to, Zeman will come with his own people, but they have to work with our people as well. They can't do it alone, and they have to train our people, they have to work with our people. So let's begin to look at it. It is not the foreigner that are destroying. Don't forget, they are coming to make money as well. They are not doing it for us free. There will be a return on their investment, even if they're bringing the money there to do it. But it's part of their own expansion. It's part of their own business expansion. It's part of their own business making. So it will come to a time, and it should be part of our own business now, that the president will be going to places and go with our own companies. Why shouldn't the government of this country go into ECOWAS country with Innocent or with all these made in Nigerian products that we have? I mean, so that people will begin to, the same thing the government of Germany is doing, to support his own economy, to support his own businesses. He goes around with the Siemens, with the Julius Berger, with every of this company. And then it is high time too that we begin to go to other countries and begin to go with our own. These are the ways we can generate more money. The government of Germany is going to benefit from it. It is not free. I mean, you can't see the president and the chancellor, going around and say, look, they're doing it because they just love us. No, there will be return on investment, and their company will be, the company revenue will be boosted. Their IGR too will be boosted. So we have to begin to look at that as well, that in the nearest future, and right from now, I wonder what the, Investment Promotion Council is doing in all this. I wonder what all these other Export Promotion Council is doing in all this. We have to begin to see their faces. We have to begin to see them promote Nigeria, not just, it's an opportunity for us, a very, very opportunity. It's a big opportunity for us.
And of course, along with this, there is also a Nigerian-German deal for renewable energy. Now, this time around, Nigeria will provide, a certain percentage, about 2% or so, of its liquefied natural gas, for Germany to also invest and bring in, renewable energy in form of, how do you think this can also, progress, even though there is a start date scheduled for 2026 or thereabout, but where do you see this all going, working hand in hand with, this Siemens agreement that Nigeria has also signed?
It's a combined thing. It's a combined thing because we have enough sun. We have enough wind. People are talking about solar energy. What about the wind energy? Some years ago, we had a conference in Gelsenkirchen in Germany, whereby, we brought people together, even the ministers from Nigeria, and it's unfortunate. The wind energy can power this country as well. We're not tapping into that yet. I've never had where we say the wind energy is part of what we're going to use. We talk about solar, fine, the solar energy, the sun, but the wind as well. So if you combine it, it's going to be a mixed thing. You have everything must not be thermal, must not be, the usual thing. All over the world, even in Germany, they are mixing it now. You have, some people even have solar panels on their roofs. Right. And, imagine if Germany can have solar power energy. Maybe just about 3 months in a year that they have good sun.
Oh, wow.
Despite the fact that the winter, and they still manage it, they still use it. And here we are, almost 9 months or 10 months, we have sun all around the year. So we have to mix it so that all these things we have to be a good thing for Nigeria. So Siemens, they are good at that as well. They are good in all this. It's an energy company. And it's not only in energy. Siemens is a conglomerate. They have the Siemens Medicals, the Siemens Energy. So we are dealing with Siemens Energy, which is specialized in all these things we are talking about. So I won't be surprised that we will have wind energy, we will have a solar energy power, we have, so all these things are supposed to be combined so that one will not fail completely, and we can always, and the Nigerian people can use their own solar power on their own. I think the government should be encouraging new constructions, new buildings now to have the solar panel on their roofs. I think
It's not cheap.
This is what the German government did. They gave discount, they subsidized it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be like that. They subsidized it. And even they said, look, if you have a number of children, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 kids, and you are building your house, and this is what you want, maybe in another 5 years or 10 years. So we have to find a way to be able to subsidize or to support this energy issue.
Right, we need to quickly go on a break. When we return, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. We're still looking at the deal signed by Nigeria and Germany, led by President Bola Tinubu and the Chancellor Olaf Scholz, presided over to further signing of the Presidential Power Initiative between both countries, where we'll ultimately see an addition of 12,000 megawatts of electricity to the national grid. And before we went on the break, still speaking with our guest here in the studio, we were talking about the matter of exploring alternative sources of energy. And we have these resources. And the question has been, why haven't we explored over the years these resources that we have? What is the challenge?
I think, you see, one of the challenges is you have to back most of these things with law. Nobody will just bring in money and say, now because there's wind in Nigeria, I want to have a wind energy farm and stuff like that. You have to back it up with the law. People want to always have, investors want to, tap into this kind of situation whereby they say, this is a new grant. But what law backs it? Can I take my money out? Can I invest and get return on investment? How many years will it take me to really, get my money back? And what happened politically and whichever way. So these are the things that, number one, is the concern, the rule of law and all other things that will come up, So now, looking at alternative sources of energy, the generators are not alternative. They are not good alternative. Let me put it that way. They are not a good alternative. They pollute the air and they destroy our system. Like I said, when you have wind energy, it is not everywhere you can place the wind farm or you can establish this wind farm, maybe. But then we have enough. We are blessed with all these resources.
Right.
One is just wondering why are we not doing it? And the political will. People have to be, they have to be selfless. I don't know what is wrong with us sometimes. Where you feel great when you are the only one who can put on your gen, immediately there is no light, and the gen is disturbing your neighbors, you don't care. And then probably your gen can even power about 3 or 4 houses, but you are the only one. I mean, everybody should recognize you. There's something senseless about this. We are living sometimes, I see, it is not, you are not a lower, you are not a big man, you are a useless man. If
That's
that
choice
is...
of words, please.
Yes, sorry about that. But you see, that is the world. Sometimes we are very political, we are very, but we have to say this sometimes the way it is, because what stops a man that goes around the world? These people, they have traveled around the world. Most of them, they've been to Netherlands. They see the farms on the highway. I mean, put it on the highway. Let us have this thing in Nigeria. Then say, this thing is fine, this is nice. And you come back to Nigeria, you still believe you have to buy your diesel. I mean, why do you go on retreat? What do you discuss on your retreat, in your retreat? Why do you travel around to see all these things? And you keep your wife and children abroad and you are living well here? No, until we begin to speak the truth. And you see, the truth is hard to understand and to say, right? But the fun is this. Most people will never have the opportunity to step at the airport.
Yes.
But they want to have a good life. Do you think all Germans, they travel out of Germany? No. Not all Germans travel out of Germany. Not all Germans can read and write. No. But because they are fundamental, they speak their mother tongue. The language of their mother tongue, motherland, or how do you want to put it?
But another way of looking at it could also be, in trying to unravel the problem with us as a country, is it also a matter of maybe our leaders not seeing into the future? Because this is the Siemens agreement now, or the Siemens deal now, is about 5 years old, and now we're seeing a government that wants to push this further and break all the obstacles that the former administration, encountered. And then there's also the large chunk of Nigerians who believe that for the generator option now that we all fall on, that many people fall on, as against the small people, the small percentage of people using inverters and the likes, people say, okay, there is the larger interest. People, their interest, fueling this problems bedeviling the power sector. Is that the issue, or is it something about us not seeing into the future? These are options that we've always
deliberate attempt to make things
known
work.
that there are options to the regular power supply. There are renewable options. There's the gas, which we all have in abundance in Nigeria. But what do you really think our problem is?
It's because you don't need to think about the future. Just think about now.
Right.
Just think about now.
But then these are long-term
I'm in line with what you said. You see, you know the past, that the problem is there. So now the problem is here again. So are you taking the problem to the future again? So when you know the past and you are in the present, so why do you want to carry the problem into the future? So there's no future at all. So right now is let us think about now. Let us have this energy now. We have been talking about it. The future will take care of itself if it is better now.
Right.
But if we don't make it now, gradually, you want to take 100 steps, you have not taken one step, and say, well, you get there, you will never get there. I mean, that's the fact.
It's not a curse.
Yes, it's a fact. You will get there, How long will you get there? Every 4 years, you come around and tell us you do the same thing. Every 4 years. So are we daft that we can't just tell you, look, mind my language, but then the point is this, you will continue to tell us the same thing you've said last year. You know, it is difficult for the president, let's be fair and frank, it is difficult for the president right now to blame the past 8 years. It's very difficult.
No, but he mentioned that he inherited some of the challenges.
And the people are taking it with him that, look, let's give him a chance. You know, Nigerians are cool guys now. We are good people in this country. Let's give him a chance.
Nigerians are also losing their patience.
Yeah, that is why you have now doctors running out of this country. And then we have problems here. So that is the problem of not just 40 years ago, but 8 years it was worse. How can you have a medical doctor that will go to work, there's no electricity? I mean, there was a time I went into one of these hospitals, I don't want to mention the name, you know, to do a dental issue. And then it was through the phone. He has to use his phone, the touchlight of his phone. I said, no, hold on, you can't. I mean, this is a medical consultant. So this guy will go to wherever outside this country to make a good life. You know, and this is why we are having this problem. We know the problem. We've been talking about the problem, but we are not making good steps. Look at Siemens is patient to say, look, let's continue. Germany is patient to say, look, you know, even the man representing them say, look, it was saying it almost in German language that, look, it has taken a long time, but it will end up good. And, you know, so that it doesn't matter how long it is to end well. So now we all believe, let it be well now in the next few years. 2026 will soon be here. It is not going to be too long. When we say the year 2000, we thought it was not coming. Now we are 2023. So now 2026 will soon be here. Let's not have this bureaucracy. Let us not steal our money. Let us do the right thing. So if we steal the money budgeted for some of these things, don't forget that the transmission is what we are talking about. What about distribution? Who distributes it? Yes. How will it be distributed? Are we going to bring foreigners again to distribute? You know, and then we say, look, we want to improve. Look at, we are doing a lot in this country, but a lot is not just enough. That is just the issue. And until we begin to do it right, because if we say we are doing a lot and we are not doing it right, we can't have companies springing up in Nigeria if we don't have electricity. Everything, the hairdresser needs an electricity, the organizer needs electricity, everything is tied down. And that is why our economy is not growing. You can tax the people from morning till night. This economy will not grow well if we don't have this electricity. If it is just one thing we can do, the health system needs electricity.
Absolutely, every sector.
So if we can just tackle this and do it well, forget about 8-point agenda, 50-point agenda, leave them aside for us. Do 1-point agenda, let's say electricity in the next 2 years, I'm fixing it and I'm fixing it well. The party will be recognized. The world will recognize you. You don't need to campaign anymore. Electricity is just what we need in this country. We need every other thing. The schools, the university, can they work in their laboratory? No. They don't have enough money. So now you give them this opportunity of having good electricity 24/7, even if it is 18 hours a day, Nigerians will still be happy. They will plan their life with 18 hours.
You think that with this 12,000 megawatts, will we be able to achieve 18 hours?
You cannot even say when and how it will be distributed.
Right.
That is the problem. You can produce it, but you don't know how it will be distributed. So the distribution is going to be another issue. But let us produce it, and let's begin to see how we transmit and how we distribute. But the most important thing is how to have it now. I believe Siemens will do their part. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will do his part, but the people to make it work. It is not the president alone, but the buck stop on his desk to make it work. So I'm wishing Nigeria well. I'm wishing this country well, that we want to live a better life, where we don't have to complain every day of our lives. We are complaining, and we have reasons to complain because the past and the present, there is nothing changed. There's no change in the past and the present. So looking at the future is just on your own. You can look at the future in your home with your family and say, this is my future. And if you look at the future that doesn't work and you want to get out of this country, you do that. That's your future. But not all of us will get out of this country. Not all of us will leave this country. And we have to make sure that this country is a better place for all of us. There are a lot of resources for us. We are not tapping into these resources. And look at the mining sector. We are going around now to look for people in the mining sector. The mining sector is a vibrant sector for us. Mention any sector in this country that is not vibrant. There is none. Every sector of our economy is vibrant.
It's vibrant, yes.
And until when we begin to see it that way. Look at the fishing industry. Do we even have trawlers in Nigeria? I can't remember where we have companies that have trawlers that will go. So we have all these things. It's not just only the electricity, but let's fix one. And let's begin to move on.
Build on that.
Politics is something that is good if it is well practiced. Germany has its own problem as well. There was inflation in Germany. There's this electricity problem in Germany because they depended on the gas from Russia. And now they are finding a solution to it. People are paying high bills, and the government has to come into it and say, look, okay, this is what we do. We have problems all around the world. It's not only Nigeria. But you can hold your leaders responsible.
Right.
The leaders can come in and say the truth to them. Let's be very transparent.
Yes, we can feel the passion and, coming from you, Michael Adeleye, a public affairs analyst. We must thank you so much for
that. Was the other one.
Sorry, Joe Femi Dagunro. Why did I mix up the name Joe Femi Dagunro? Thank you so much.
Right.
I remember.
Next time I will speak German.
No. Joe Femi Dagunro. Why was I looking? Yeah, Joe Femi Dagunro. I mixed up the papers.
Ahead,
thank you.
right.
So yes, thank you so much for your time. We could feel the passion.
Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Nigerian German Business Group, Germany. Thank you for your time.
Right.
Former president. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.